Hey guys, this is Clarence, my Action Tech guy here again. I'm back here with a build under 700 Singapore dollars. Of course, this is 2021. It's all used parts except for the chassis, which you'll see in a bit. I'll go through the parts list later. The prices of GPUs are crazy for the past year or so. It's really insane. So what I have here, you'll see in a bit, not the latest and greatest. It's a few generations old, but should still be plenty capable gaming at stable FPS while I wait for the 30 series or the AMD graphics cards to be more close to MSRP prices. Alright, that CPU has already been installed. At the heart of this PC, we have the Intel Core i5 9400F. It's 6-core, 6-thread. I think this is comparable to the Ryzen 5 3500. It's plenty capable for gaming. It's ASRock H310 CMHDV. MATX form factor is a very bare bones board, but should be plenty sufficient for our needs. So this whole bundle here cost me $217. And the CPU is going to be cooled by this guy. This is the Cryoric M9i/A tower cooler. The fan is only 90mm, and you can see right here, there's 3 heat pipes. But that should be plenty good enough. It's way better than Intel stock cooler for sure. I got this guy for about $15. You can definitely find it around this price from the used marketplaces in the region. In Singapore, Carousel, they offer a much more, stable and safe platform rather than Facebook Marketplace where it's highly unregulated. For RAM, since we are using the H310 platform, we are kind of resigned to our fate. The maximum RAM speeds we're gonna get is 2666. So it is a pair of G-Skill ripped jaws. It's a dual channel RAM, 8GB sticks each, so this makes it to be 16 gigs at 2666 MHz for sure. At CL15, that's red color, but it's fine. I got this guy for about $64, pretty decent price. For power supply, I have this 600W 80 plus bronze unit from FSP. It's the FSP Hydro 600W. I got this for about $29, real bang for a buck. It's a used unit, but I already tested all the components, and this one of course works pretty well. It's all mainly flat black cables, except for one, catch-up master, which is 24-pin ATX power. But that's fine, you can survive with some of this, or if you really want to make it more clean, you can even get a cable extension. We'll think about it, but you can always upgrade that later. So this budget board has no M.2 slots, so we're gonna go with a SATA SSD. This is the Crucial MX100, 512GB. I got this for about $65 cheap, so really good value for the money there, and 500 gigs should be plenty enough for games and programs, OS and stuff. So if you really want, you can always add a secondary hard disk drive to store more data and some games which you don't play that often. So anyway, SATA SSD is plenty enough for playing games. It's slightly slower than M.2 drive. After you load the game, it doesn't matter too much, the performance is roughly the same. Game FPS is more highly affected by your GPU and CPU rather than this, because once the games are loaded into memory, your hard disk doesn't matter. Technically, you can run games off a hard disk drive, longer loading times, but in-game experience should still stay the same. Alright, holy grail of this build is a STRIX GTX 970. It's a really beefy card, as you can see right here, and it's of good condition with the STRIX logo right here. So realistically, for this build, I believe can support up to a 3060 Ti, but for now, this will suffice. Get it through this pandemic and some gaming until graphics card stocks and prices stabilize, and then you can upgrade that. In the meantime, if you'd like to know, I got this guy for $150. They regularly go up for sale in Carousel for about $250. So you just gotta wait for it, and sometimes you get to find a good deal just like this. And of course, you gotta go for plenty RGB. I have this ID cooling fans right here. I kind of forgot about them, let me check. XF12025 ARGB. We have 6 of them here. I got this from my old build, which I'll show right this side. I think at MSRP, this is about a 3 fan pack goes for around $50. Our prices at around $40 since it's been used by me, but they are still in really good condition. Anyway, we need that RGB. RGB sells and gives you extra performance. And so the motherboard don't have any ARGB headers, so we're gonna use this guy. I got this guy from Taobao for about $12. It's a PWM and 8 RGB controllers. I believe it supports about 8 ARGB fans and 2 more ARGB headers for strips. RGB strips. So it includes like a remote controller as well. It works really well because you just need one hub for all your ARGB and PWM connectors. And if you're like me right here, your motherboard is still way too cheap and doesn't support any ARGB headers, you can always use this. I've used this before and it's plenty fine for the price. It's time for the big boy. I'm genuinely excited about this. I'm sure this guy is gonna be a box in a box. The other case I bought from China, but that's good. That means there's additional protection. Right, nice. It's the Master Gel Pro V2 by Cooler Master. If this does not give you a good hint what the case is, or rather what brand the case is, well, you can go yourself. Now we do that flipperino. Boom. Just like that. Tight squeeze. Damn. Yeah. Look at that. That's the Masterbox MB400L. It's a clear side panel made of tempered glass. And of course, it's a bit like the H510, where you have ventilation holes at the side of the case. Front side, I mean. This is MATX. So let's open this guy. For Taobao case, this feels real chunky. It's definitely way better than a lot of the weird cases from Eve Sky and what have you not brands from China. It's not cheap as fitting. It has some weight to it, which is really nice. And that nice iconic Cooler Master logo. I like that brush metallic finish right here. You can see that. It's matte and there's some kind of texture to it. It's real cool. That tempered glass right here. It's a PSU strong. Let's take a look behind. Fairly standard. So I believe it supports vertical GPU mounting for sure. I don't know what that is, but anyway, those PCIe covers are snap off. That's a bit of a shame, but it's to be expected for this chassis. As you can see right through this panel, there's no rubber grommets for the cable management hose as well. I haven't worked with Cooler Master chassis, especially those more modern chassis for a while. The last one that I'm using in my personal rig is the NR200, which is right there. Boom. Yeah, and that whiskey. I don't think you can find this in the local market. I think this is more meant for the China market. And I got this shipped for a total of a little under $44. It comes with no fans. It works well for our build right here. And will look real classy. So let's look at the bottom of this case. I forgot about that. Yeah, here's this nice rubber fit. A lot of the cheap cases, for example, TechWeb, which is really popular in Singapore, is a brand out of Philippines. Chip out on these small details. So I really like rubber fit. It protects your furniture. The tower are more firm standing, if you will. There are no fan fins at the top, but it's fine because usually with exhaust, it won't attract much dust unless it's an intake. So that's plenty fine. I really like this power button right here. Nice sounding, and with that Cooler Master logo, gives it real class compared to the cheap ass circular power buttons you find in many cases. And right here, I believe that's the reset button with USB 2.0, USB 3.0, and likely a combo headphone mic jack. Right, so the logo right here is supposed to have some kind of color effect going on when you turn it on. Right, as for fan and cooling options, the front supports 3x 130mm fans for water cooling. This supports up to a 280mm radiator, and for the top, it supports up to 2x 140mm fans. For radiator, it supports up to a 240mm radiator. As for the back, it supports a 130mm fan or radiator. It supports a CPU tower cooler up to 16.6cm and GPUs up to 34.4 cm long, PSUs up to 32.5 cm long. So basically, all the common components should be able to fit into this case. And that tempered glass, it's 4mm thick. I think that's pretty standard as well. I'm glad this is not damaged during delivery from China to Singapore, which is real awesome. Cooler Master provided good packaging, double box, good foam packaging. I salute you for that. Alright, let's move to the panel. on the right side of the chassis. Damn, that's really tight. Alright, that's toolless. And it's kept. It's a good touch. Won't lose your thumb screws. Just pull it apart. Whoa. Oh damn. I hate this kind of stuff, but well, there's a fan filter right here. I'm not sure why they put it here, to be honest. Oh, I see where you're coming from. This is actually a filter for the top panel. They put it inside the case so as not to damage it. It's real nice. It's magnetic. Let's put it up there. As always, the accessories are tucked behind right here in the hard drive cage. It's a nice back. I believe those are all the front panel, USBs, and definitely some power in order to power the RGB on the power button at the front. Now for the tempered glass panel, here's this thumb screws. I rather prefer that swivel door and pulling up effect, which is toolless. I mean, this is toolless as well, but these are real hard. I need to use a screw to remove them. Loosen them first at least, and use my hands. Don't need to tighten them so hard. Alright, there we go. Alright, they're kept as well. Very nice touch there. Off to a good start. Alright, so unscrew this. Goes right down and up. Nice. That way you won't bruise the cable grommets. Look at the cable grommets. Look at it, guys. Yep, they're actually on that tempered glass itself. A lot of it, cheap ones especially, they are actually punched into this hole. Sometimes you lose them real easy. I think it's a more clever way to install the cable grommets, placing it right here. Now we can have a clear look at all the cable management holes. Right here at the top. At the bottom, we have two of them. And of course at the side, right here as well. And one more right in the middle. So right here, I believe we can install either hard disks or SSDs. Rather, I think it's more for SSDs. And right at the side, we have space for two more SSDs. For this bay, you can install either two hard disks or two SSDs as well. So to remove this, you just gotta unscrew a thumb screw right here at the bottom, and you can slide the hard drive bay out. Let's look at some of the cable management brackets, if we will. A few of them scattered around here. One at the top, another one here, and then two at the sides. And all the way at the right hand side, you can see some as well. I think that's plenty enough. Right, now let's get to removing that front panel. I believe you just have to crank at it. Right here. Alright, comes right off cleanly, don't have to use much force. Real nice, and there's basically no cables going into this guy. And right here, I see that there's no power connectors going to this. I think I may be mistaken. It's just a bit transparent. So you have ARGB fans. They will shine through this guy. That works as well, in a pinch. Alright, I'm looking at the accessory box. It's real cool. Look at this. Included a few of these brackets, if you will, right here. It's a nice Codemaster logo design right here. And this basically goes, I believe, goes into that hard drive cage right at the side here. At both sides of it, goes like that. So it makes for more effortless mounting. You don't have to use screws. I won't be putting any hard disk drives here, but that's a really nice design. So included in the accessories box, of course, are some cable ties for cable management. Cable grommets right here, I'm not sure what they're for. And of course, your standard bag of screws. There's also this adapter you can use to install your standoffs. This is real nice. Not all cases come with this. It's real appreciated. And all those standoffs already come pre-installed, so they have to install it themselves. Makes it really convenient. I really like this huge ass cutout here. It makes installing stuff real easy. First, I'm going to install that I/O shoe. This huge space right here means that I can put my hand right through. Unlike a lot of cases, you gotta squeeze in from the left side of the case. Just real hard. This makes it real easy. So guys, remember to put this first. Don't fuck up. Install your motherboard and realize that you gotta install this and you gotta restart that step right again. I much prefer motherboards that have I/O shoes integrated into them, but of course those usually come at a premium. Next, we're gonna snap off the second and third PCIe cover. Since we have a dual slot graphics card, I already measured where I need to take it out. Boom. Alright, one down. Boom, boom, boom. Just check it back and forth. Two down. Codemaster don't really does it this way, but this is a budget case, but the material It's actually pretty decent for the price. It's only 40 bucks, you can't complain too much. Now let's find out how to install the motherboard. Just hold it up like so. Here at the bottom. I think we screwed up. We should install SSD behind, or should I put it right here? Let's see. This is blue color, so I have it right here. It's not that nice. I think I kind of prefer it to be right here. Out of sight, it looks better having blue right there, unless you final wrap it. I think it doesn't make sense. I want to put it here. Fuck, I gotta redo it, damn it. Alright, so install this rubber grommets. I forgot to press record, but basically what you do is that you shove all this into this holes right here. And then on the SSD, you install this standoff like stuff. Now we insert SSD into those cable grommets. And it's time to install that PSU. Just make sure that guy is screwed down. First off, I'm going to remove the drive cage. This is a non-modular PSU, so I'll need all the space that I can have. And we'll start routing all the cables to where they're closest to on the motherboard. First up, we tackle those pesky front I/O connectors. I tend to like to do this first because you want as much space as possible to work with. Then I'm going for the USB 3.0 header. We'll tackle the front audio header next. Here I'm routing the PCIe cables through in preparation for installation of the GPU. The 4+4 pin CPU power comes next, followed by the 24 pin ATX power. I've decided to use a power extension here, just can't stand that single catch-up mustard cable. I'm using the CryoRig CP7 thermal paste. This is when I realized I haven't inserted the RAM, so I'm gonna do it so first before installing that CPU cooler. We'll now lock on that CPU cooler with equal pressure from both sides. Now we clip on that CPU fan and plug in that CPU fan header. Here goes the GPU. We'll push it in till it clicks, secure it to the chassis, and we'll plug in those PCIe cables. In goes the SATA power into the SSD, and the SATA cable that's connected to the motherboard. As always, I like to boot the system up before doing the cable management just to make sure that everything is working just fine. Alright, it's time to give this the boot test. Alright, things seems to be spinning around here. Let me see. Whoa. Yeah, look at that. Let's see if we get the display. Alright, see that as proposed. SSD is detected. Both RAM sticks at 2666. So that's a win. Now we go ahead and install the fans and do the rest of the cable management. Alright, the fans here definitely going to be intake for sure. What I hate about RGB fans is that for every fan you have two cables. So actually I'm looking into other fans which have more proprietary connectors. That way you don't have so many cables to manage. But the bad thing is that you're bought into that ecosystem. So I like everything centralized. I'm just going to place these fans in first and then see where best to place them. I like to centralize the fans so from the front it looks more aesthetically pleasing. I like things symmetrical. Just put two screws in for each fan, that we can start it up and down. And we're happy with the height, let's drill them in. Now we go for the top fans. They're gonna be exhaust for sure. Like these fans, I like them all the way behind for optimal airflow because the air goes in from the front of the case and I want to exit basically near towards the back of the case. I'm gonna stick these two fans close together. Having a weird gap will look kind of funny. This case is well thought out. I don't think we have much issue putting it as exhaust behind here. Clearance should be more than sufficient. Yeah, and I was right. It'll be a pain to do it if it's a manual screwdriver. Something's a little bit odd here. If you look at this, it's a bit higher than the CPU cooler. It looks a bit weird. I'm gonna move this lower down so that it's in line. I think it looks way better that way. Right, now we're off the cable management. Look at this. This whole thing is a spaghetti mess. God damn it. And this the ARGB hub. It's real cool. It's magnetic. Ideally, even all this, there's lighting. It'd be nice if you can put it in the front, but there's a lot of cables running through. I don't think it looks that nice. There's just simply not enough space to put this guy here. At least think so. Gotta double check, but if not, I gotta slot this guy right under at the cable, or rather the ASUS strap. So we're gonna do a time lapse of this, or rather hyperlapse, using my action cam. Alright, so after much efforts, all the fans are working, and the back one, that's some decent cable management in my books. Given that the power supply is non-modular, I kind of cheated here. I meshed the hard drive cage in, but I didn't really quite have enough space to. I needed to shift this more to the right so I can screw it in, so I can't bolt that down, but at least it looks neat just like that. And notice this guy right here, it also syncs as well, pretty cool. There's this simple remote control. You can turn off the lights, turn it back on, switch modes, yeah, whatever rainbow stuff you want. Let's go for breathing effect, some kind of breathing effect. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, let's tune this a little bit so you can see it. Boom. Yeah, that rainbow. Right, if I want you to come puke, I would like it a bit slower. So adjust the speed. Boom. There's only a few effects, but I think it's plenty fine. Given that this motherboard doesn't have an ARGB header, this is a really saving grace, and it's cheap. It's only going for like 11 bucks, so you can't complain that much. Let's just stick with this rainbow puke here. So now we're gonna put the case back on, start installing Windows, and run this through a few games using that same technique as always. I will put this thing here on the side, lie flat. Basically make sure I'm not clamping onto any cables. Alright, so with this, basically I've done very good cable management. I don't even need to add pressure on it, but if this thing is bulging, you can add your weight right here and push it through. But I think it's easy, just push it through, just like that. Everything's real flat, there's enough cable management space because of the good stuff I did. So now we put the glass panel back on. There's no peel on the inside, so I have some smudges right in the middle and right inside, which I wiped off. Is MR Peel Edition. Oh yeah. Ooh. Oh yeah. Now we put filter right back here, up here. Perfect. So this logo has a very nice touch, with it being kind of translucent. We can see the ARGB fan lighting through it, and makes for quite kind of cool effect. Never seen this before. Running using Heaven 1080p and Cinebench R33 at multi-core, we're getting a CPU max temp of 65 degrees Celsius and GPU max temp of 76 degrees Celsius.
Thanks, Judy. Really.
Let's walk.
Don't worry. I know what I'm doing.
In Cyberpunk 2077 at 720p low presets, we're getting an average FPS of 66.
My, what a sweet little face.
At 1080p, we're getting an average FPS of 39. I would say for such a game, I would play personally at 1080p, just because I like that graphic fidelity, and I don't mind the FPS. In Shadow of Tomb Raider, at 1080p low presets, we get an average FPS of 70. For Fortnite, at 1080p custom presets, Epic View Distance on, we're getting an average FPS of 99.
chute lets you glide away from everyone else. Now hunt them down. Target reloading!
For Modern Warfare, at 1080p default settings, we'll get an average FPS of 116. Next up, we have this game. Let me show you. What's this? That's right. That's a potato. Valorant is so easy to run, even potatoes can run it. For Valorant, we're able to run it at 4K, medium presets, get an average FPS of 238. So you guys have seen the benchmarks. At this price point, under $700, surviving on a GTX 970 is plenty good in 2021 while you wait for the 30 series or the new series of AMD GPUs. I have to say that I really like this chassis. This thing looks like it has a solid front panel which impedes all the airflow, but in fact it has good sound dampening capability, so it's not too loud when you put this under heavy load. And the air intakes at both sides is actually pretty decent. You have vents right here on the left and on this side as well, on the right, and at the bottom you have them vents as well. Surprisingly, this has sufficient airflow to keep this guy's temperature in check. It's pretty nice, and as I said, for the price, you can't beat this value of this guy. The material is pretty decent for the price. It's just one thing here. I've gone with this nice chassis with all that ARGB fans, 6 of them in fact, and of course I had to do with the Coolmoon ARGB controller with remote control. This motherboard doesn't have ARGB headers. If you're really on a shoestring budget, what you can do is you can actually buy a budget case like the TechWare Forge M2. I'll show it right here. It has a full front mesh panel for good airflow and it includes 2 RGB fans at the front and 1 behind. So realistically, you can survive with that. On top of that, you can also use the Intel stock cooler instead of what I'm having here, the Cryok M9i/A. With that, it should bring the total cost to under $600. Pretty good value for what I'm getting there. With that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you like this video, please give me a like and subscribe if you didn't. See you guys!